What's up, everyone? Welcome to the tier list for Town of Salem 2. I did one of these for Town of Salem 1 a while back, and with today, as this is being recorded August 25th, with the full release of Town of Salem 2, we have now left early access. We're going to take some time and just chat about the roles, how I feel about them, how I think they are, how I enjoy playing them. And go from here. I am still streaming on Twitch, as Water is pointing out. I am in YouTube mode. I gotta have the what's up guy. But let's get into it. Yeah, so let's kick things off with the Town Investigative roles. Just like a first off comparatively, the Town Investigative roles in TOS 2 are a lot less powerful, because Town of Salem 1, you had multiple TIs that could find a lot of information. Whereas in TOS 2, there's only really a couple that are really proficient at finding information every night. Whereas you have a couple like Coroner, Investigator, Lookout that aren't going to get information every night. I mean, Lookout still does, like they still know someone doesn't visit. The Spy, that's changed at least from Town of Salem 1. Lookout hasn't, but just the information they can grab. So we're going to kick off with those. There's a really easy TI for us to kick things off with, which is the Coroner. The Coroner is a role that I think we can all agree, we're going to skip D tier and we're going F tier, like rework this role. Not enjoyable to play. It had a slight rework, during early access, but it needs more. It needs more, and it needs it badly. Let me also send Peck away, so that way it doesn't cover up a little bit of the screen there. I don't really have much more to say about that role other than it's not enjoyable to play. S tier, obviously. S tier, obviously. Coming up next is the Investigator. So this is changed from Town of Salem 1. The Investigator in this one, you check someone at night and you're told if they have blood or no blood. If they have blood, they attempted an attack. It doesn't necessarily mean they killed someone, they just attempted an attack. It's okay. It doesn't really gain information, like every night, like the old Investigator did, like where you check someone and find some info. It's okay. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It's just kind of there. The Lookout, it's very similar to its Town of Salem 1 play. You check people at night, you see who visits. It's cool. I wouldn't say it's S. It finds information, it does good stuff, it's there, it exists. Invest was a lot better in TOS 1, it's unfortunate what they did to that role. Yeah, they kind of downgraded it pretty heavily, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, because I feel like with the Ritualist and the Doomsayer, sometimes having too much info provided to the town can be harmful, but that stacked with the Coroner, stacked with the Sheriff, it can be rough. Kicking things down next, is the Psychic. Psychic, honestly, in Town of Salem 1, hated the role, because I felt like it was faked all the time. Now that Town of Salem 2 is doing more of a vote for alignment instead of a vote for role, since the Ritualist and Doomsayer exist, people are being a little bit more stingy with claiming their exact role, which allows evils to be a little bit more creative with their fake claims. I've actually enjoyed Psychic more. I'll randomly fake claim it every now and again when my little Rolodex over here tells me to. But I kind of enjoy it because you can kind of trust its info slightly more. People can still fake it, obviously, but I enjoy it. So middle of the road. Nothing for or against. Now comes... of the added roles, I think this one is one of the most powerful and is just really fun to play. And that is the Seer. The Seer, you choose two people at night. You find out if they're friends or they're enemies. We talked about this on stream today, and it's coming out in a video soon. There should have been better alliteration. You should have been able to find out if someone was a friend or a foe instead of friends or enemies. It should have been friends or foes. At Town of Salem, can you change it to friends or foes? For me, S tier, obviously. A lot of fun to play. You can find a lot of information. I do like the change they made to it during early access, where you can no longer check revealed roles, which I think is great. You can find info, share it with the town, and if used correctly and protected, can typically lead town to a victory. We're going to rapid fire These next couple of TIs, since they haven't really changed much, and they're kind of just there. Sheriff, middling of the road. You can find suspicious. Actually, we're going to downgrade it to C. Middling of the road, because you can now only find the Coven and the Jester. You cannot find the neutral killings. You can't find the neutral apocalypses. There are less things for you to find. So it's just one of those where it's still fun to play when you find things as suspicious. But then when there's also town roles that show as suspicious, there's not that huge excitement. So it's there. I don't hate the role, but it's definitely there. Yeah, the fact that they find Trickster is sus, which I don't hate because it gives claim space, but it just takes away from the enjoyment of Sheriff. Our next one up is the Tracker. The Tracker also hasn't changed at all from Town of Salem 1, other than there are some evil roles that can kind of claim it now, which is actually really fun. I enjoy Tracker. It's actually ahead of Lookout for me. But it's the top of A tier, leaning towards S tier. It's a fun role to play. You get good information. You can share it. And then the last TI role that has seen a huge change is the Spy. The Spy now, you bug someone every night, and your bugs can stay there until they're triggered. They can be triggered by an arsonist visiting, by a plague bearer, by a potion master, an illusionist, all that fun stuff. Honestly, it gets some pretty good info as far as TIs are concerned. It's different than how it was in Town of Salem 1. You don't see the specific visits anymore. I do think this is a good change for the Spy. In a game where in Town of Salem 1, a lot of the information was given to you. Town of Salem 2's making you need to go get the information and making it a little bit more socially deductive. So I enjoy the Spy change. Tier A. It kind of tied with Lookout for me. I don't really see either of those. Either of those could be in front of the other between Lookout and Spy. They're both fun. So moving on to the Town Protectives. Town Protectives, we got 4 of these in Town of Salem 2, 3 that are returning from Town of Salem 1, and then a 4th that is basically returning from Town of Salem 1, just renamed and rethemed. And we're going to kick off with the renamed and rethemed one, and that is the Cleric, if I can find its icon. There it is right there. So the Cleric, it's the doctor from Town of Salem 1, except you're a cleric instead of a doctor now. That's really the only difference. Not really much to talk about there. Bodyguard, the change with the Bodyguard now is you now have 2 self-protects that you can do, which I kind of enjoy. Just from roll alone, it'd be up here, but in my enjoyment of playing it, it's not. I don't really enjoy playing it. I've never really enjoyed playing as the Bodyguard. It's kind of just middling of the road. Honestly, Psychic also kind of beats out Invest, just at least for fun enjoyment from my end. It's there. It's there. The Spy icon is really cool. A lot of these icons, really well done. Coming up next, with probably... It's tied for first place of my favorite of the TPs, the Trapper and the Crusader. The Trapper does actually gain some info when they place on stuff, so they can kind of lean Town Investigative a little bit, help add stuff to the town. I enjoy playing Trapper. I think it's a fun role. If you place your trap in the right place, it can be hugely beneficial to the town, even beyond your death. It also has the new update now where you can dismantle and rebuild the same night, which is just choice. S tier for me. Crusader, no change from Town of Salem 1, basically the exact same role. Also S tier for me. Again, could easily go for front or behind Trapper. I really enjoy playing those 2 TP roles. Yeah, that's really all I gotta say about that. The rebuild rule for the Trapper, so good. So moving on to the Town Killing roles. We got 4 Town Killing roles. 2 returning from TOS 1 and 2 brand new roles. Town Killing, always a good time. The roles, not town being killed, because that typically leads to losses, unless you're playing as evil, I guess. So we'll kick through the returning ones. The Veteran, exactly same as Town of Salem 1. The only difference is they can no longer be role blocked. which I've gotten some competing info on. Maybe they could be role blocks. I don't know. Basically the same role. You got 3 alerts. You try and vet bait people. Oh, actually, there is a change for veteran in Town of Salem too. It's no longer a unique role, so you could have multiple veterans in the game, not just a singular veteran, which is kind of cool. A little bit different, and is definitely up there in the S tier for me. It's a lot of fun. Top of A tier. Top of A tier. Almost S. That's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a tough one right there. And then the other returning TK is the Vigi, if I can find... There it is right there. The Vigilante, same as TOS1, except the difference is now, instead of if you accidentally kill Town, instead of it waiting to the next day, you are immediately taken out by the Hangman and you are immediately gone from the game. So yeah, A tier, it's there, it's good, it's enjoyable. The 2 new TK roles. A really good one and a really not so good one. The not so good one, in my opinion, we got the Trickster. So the Trickster, it went through a couple of phases. Currently, at the time of this, it has an unlimited amount of uses. You visit a member of the town at night. If they have the ability to attack, such as a serial killer, a Coven member holding the book, a werewolf, you will instead bring the ire onto you. They will attack you. You will attack them. Take out each other depending on defense levels, which is kind of fun, I guess. But it's a reverse bodyguard. You take out an evil, but you take yourself out. Except unlike the bodyguard, you show as suspicious to other townies, which does open claim space for evils. I don't really enjoy it. It's kind of just there. It's kind of just there. It's C tier for me. I don't love it. I don't despise it. It's just kind of there. And the other brand new TK role is the Deputy. It's the daytime vigilante. You choose someone during the day and you fire. If they're good, if they're evil, nice. Everyone loves you. You're revealed to the town. Everyone knows who you are. If they're bad, or if they're good, Hangman comes for you, takes you out. S tier, great time. Deputy is very cool. I agree. Moving on to the town supports. We got two returning roles from Town of Salem 1, a re-theme from a role in Town of Salem 1, and a brand new role. So we'll go through the returning roles pretty quickly. We got the Retributionist, basically the exact same from Town of Salem 1, except now they can reuse roles a lot more often than you could in Town of Salem 1. It's kind of there. It's B tier for me. Don't love it or hate it. It's 100% dependent on the graveyard that you have. If you have a graveyard with nothing you can use, it sucks to play as the Retributionist. So it's kind of there for me. No real change in Town of Salem 1. Then we got the Amni returning. The change for the Amni in TOS 2, you cannot choose. You are randomly assigned the first town role to enter the graveyard on the day that they enter the graveyard. If 2 townies enter the graveyard at the same time, you are randomly assigned one of the 2. I think a nice change for the Amni is they should be able to choose. I'm fine with them only being able to be town, because that's their change. They can only be town. They cannot be evil. They're only town, which is great. I think they should be able to choose which town role they can be. C tier for me. It's not fun to play as, because you roll it and you're like, it just depends on what is rolled, what dies first. So it's kind of there. It's not a terrible roll, but it's not a fun roll either. The rethemed is the Tavern Keeper. This is basically the escort from Town of Salem 1, but with a new theme on it, a new spin on it. Not really much to say. It's just the escort. The only change now is you cannot roll block the same person 2 nights in a row. But that's the same for everything. For the jailer, can't jail the same person 2 nights in a row. The pirate can't pirate the same person 2 nights in a row, which is already there. You just can't target the same person 2 nights in a row, which is a good time. Middling of the road. Don't love it or hate it. It can really change the game. It's not one I enjoy playing, but it's there. And the brand new town support role is the Admirer. The Admirer, you have 2 chances to propose to someone at night. They can say yes or no. If they say yes, You are shown what their role is, and you can care for them twice during the game, giving them defense. If they choose no, it's a little suspicious, but you can propose to someone else. If they're evil, though, you're in a toxic relationship and you cannot speak the next day. You know what they are, though, but they also know what you are. And you lose all hopes of love, and you cannot propose to anyone else. It's kind of fun. I see a lot of evils claim it together. Neutral Apocalypses is claiming it together. And kind of taken away with some wins. I don't love it or hate it. It's okay. It's fun. You have some fun bits with it. It exists. It exists. So that's it for our town support. Now we're moving into the Town Power. This is a new alignment within the town. It moves some roles over into it. 2 roles from Town of Salem 1 have moved into it, the Jailer and the Mayor, and then we have 2 brand new roles. The Jailer, not much to say about that. It's the same as Town of Salem 1, except now, if you execute a townie, you still have 3 executes, but if you execute a townie, you lose the ability to jail. Not just X, you cannot jail anyone else for the rest of the game. Still a lot of fun. A great role, fun to play. Good stuff. Then we got the Mayor. No real change from Town of Salem 1. You can now whisper when you're revealed. That's kind of cool. Yeah, it's cool. It's there. It's happening. Sorry, dropped my phone. That's pretty awkward. And also hit full screen. So yeah, the Mayor's there. It's happening. I hit full screen again in trying to move my phone. Yikes. The brand new roles is the Monarch. The Monarch can choose to knight someone. In doing so, they give themselves defense, and they give their knight 2 votes instead of 1. It's a fun role. Got to be careful who you knight, though, because if you knight 2 evils, you've given evils voting power sooner than you wanted to give it. But it's a fun role. A tier for me. It's an enjoyable one. Maybe over the lifetime of this game, we'll see more huge enjoyment. For now, it's A tier for me. And then the other new Town Power role is the Prosecutor. During the day, you click someone and prosecute them. You send them up to the stand. No one else has a say. Just you. And it's a guilty if you chose to prosecute them. The downside is if you just chose to prosecute a townie, Hangman's coming for you next. But, you chose to prosecute a jester? You're the only person who voted. You're the only person who guiltied. The jester's coming for you. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. It's a really fun role. Moving on. That's all of our townies. Moving on to our neutrals. We're going to start off with the neutral evils. So this has 3 returning roles and a brand new role. We're going to kind of rapid fire these as well. Pirate, no change from Town of Salem 1. It's just the same old pirate that we know and love. End of A tier. It's kind of there. There's nothing there. It honestly could be top of B tier. It's there. It exists. The Executioner has a change. The Executioner can now choose their target, and it can be evil. You have to choose your target night 1, or it's randomly assigned for you. But once that target dies, if you didn't vote them, if they die at night, you can choose a new target. At that point, you can go, town's pretty suspicious of 7. I'm gonna go ahead and choose 7. Great roll. I enjoy it. Top of A tier. Jester. The change for Jester is you can now give yourself defense. Once. To keep yourself alive, and you do show as suspicious. So that could help you, that could hurt you. There's the Jester box right there. I'm gonna put it after the Monarch. It's fun to play, but it's definitely one of those where you win by leaving the game. Which I enjoy being a part of the game and getting to do stuff. So this is my most controversial one that I have, which is the Doomsayer. A lot of people enjoying the Doomsayer. I am not one of them. Is it once or twice? I believe the Bodyguard can do twice, the Jester is once. Yeah, BG twice, Jester once. Doomsayer, I love the idea of it. I just hate how you can just randomly guess night 1 and kill 3 Coven. It can just it takes away the deduction, and enforces the random guess. I enjoy the idea of it, but I feel like it just needs some tweaking. But I know I'm in the minority in my thought of that, so I'm gonna leave it B tier for now. It's a fun roll. I just don't love that it is so much random and it's not as much deduction. But that's my standpoint. I know a lot of people have different standpoints on that one. And I know they want to keep it the way it is. Honestly, my tweaking that I want them to do is I don't think you should be able to guess night one for first. You shouldn't be able to guess night one. Same with Monarch. Monarch shouldn't be able to night one. Because guessing night one, if they just happen to randomly guess 3 covens, the 3 covens end. I also don't think they should be able to guess revealed roles. Claimed out roles is fine. Veteran fine. I don't think they should be able to guess like a prosecutor prosecutes a deputy who shoots a mayor who reveals. Just because that person's just doing their job and then they're punished for it. That's really those are really the only 2 changes that I want. But I know them and a lot of the community right now really likes it, which is why I know it's a controversial pick. But moving right along into the neutral killing roles. The neutral killing roles got a huge update in this, and they no longer show as suspicious to the sheriff. They don't show up as evils, which is kind of fun. We have 4. 3 are returning. 1 is brand new. The returning ones are kind of the same. The serial killer is normal, but if you get 2 kills in a row, you give into the bloodlust, and you now have a rampaging attack, which is kind of fun. Honestly, top of B tier for me. I don't love or hate SK. Yeah, I don't love or hate SK. It's kind of there. We got the werewolf, the Awu wolf. Middle B tier. Killing every other night. SK can also kill other immunes. Oh, that's true, because when they have the bloodlust, they rampage. Werewolf's another one. Not much change in it. Still the same. It's just neutral killings. It's just rough to play sometimes. So it's there. The other returning one is the arsonist. Literally no change to the arsonist. It's also just there. As you can tell, I tend to enjoy a lot of town stuff where I can like contribute to the game. But I guess that's kind of bad. I don't know. That just says something about me. Being able to guess revealed roles help prevent town power coming out early. It helps the evils. Yep, that's true. Oh shoot, werewolf does have a change. I lied. Werewolf can now track someone. They choose someone night 1 and they can track where they go. So they can kind of fake tracker, which is kind of fun. Hey, we'll end up with some more stuff in the F tier, I promise. Speaking of the F tier, oh wait, never mind. We have one more. The Shroud. Shroud's kind of fun. You choose someone that does an astral attack. It's an interesting NK. I don't know that I love it. Oh yeah, werewolf. That's also true. I forgot that as werewolf is no longer unique. There can be 30 million werewolves. There can be 30 million rets, and there can be 30 million vets. The only unique roles are the town power roles, and then like there can't be 2 coven leaders. So the coven roles and the town power roles are the only unique roles. Yeah. Moving into the neutral apocalypses. So these are the 4 neutral apocalypses. You have the Plague Bearer, who becomes Pestilence. You have the Berserker, who becomes War. You have the Soul Collector, who becomes Death. And you have Baker, who becomes Famine. Baker, you give people 3 pieces of bread, and you hope they're still alive in the game, and then Famine starts, and you become Famine. It's there. It's a roll. Plague Bearer, you now give out the plague. What does Famine look like? Famine is this horse. You can hang out with your bit of stuff there. Pestilence and Plague Bearing. It's not my favorite one to play. It's just kind of there. Yeah, it's kind of boring. You got the Soul Collector, which is kind of fun, kind of interesting. You got to collect 6 souls, but if you're solo, it's not great. Death will stay with it. You collect 6 souls every night. You passively collect 1 from the underworld, but you can visit someone, and if they die, you collect their soul. Once you get 6, you become Death. If town doesn't vote you up the next day, you win. Soul Collector is also an astral visit, which is true. Yep. And then we got the Berserker, which is kind of just the serial killer, kind of just the Juggernaut. Actually, it's more Juggernaut than that. So they're kind of there. And then once they become war, they get just a few additional targets added to them. They're fun. It's of the four neutral apocalypses, I prefer Berserker the most. I put Death quite high because everyone's looking for you when you appear. I'm just keeping them with what they are, because there's not much of a different play style with them. War gets a double attack, that's what it is. I was like, I remember they get something, but I can't remember what it is. And moving into the final faction, the Coven, where we will get some F tier. I'm sure we'll get some more F tier here. Everything that's left on your screen is Coven. Starting off with the Coven Power rolls. I mean, Death makes everyone auto lose. Oh, yeah, that's true. If Death doesn't find you, Town loses. The neutral apocalypses win. Starting off with the Coven Power, we got the Coven Leader. They've kind of lost some of their power in Town of Salem 2. They no longer control targets since the Witch has returned. So they're basically just the Godfather. They can choose to power up their attack and power up their defense. Yeah. With Book, they can deal powerful attacks, so it's helpful. But they're just kind of there. Honestly, probably put them there. Put that there. That there. Sure. The Hexmaster's a lot of fun until they get the book. Which they are the 10th person to get the book, but it's the same thing from Town of Salem 1 as far as Hexmaster is concerned. Don't love it, don't hate it. Middle of the road. And then we got the Witch, which is the same Witch from Town of Salem 1, which is a lot of fun. Witch is a lot of fun. Controlling people, getting info, sending people places. Good stuff. We got our Coven Killing rolls. Hexmaster no longer... Oh, that's true. The Hexmaster no longer shows people as suspicious. That is true. That is true. We got the Coven Killing rolls. So these are the members who their whole job is to kill people. So you got the Conjurer. Oh my god. Oh my gosh, the Conjurer. F tier. F tier. F tier. It's an S tier. It's an S tier. The Conjurer has the ability to, during the day, can click someone and launch a meteor at them, killing them. They can do it once a game. And it's pretty great. Oh, that mayor just revealed. No, you're gone. Bye. Oh, we just confirmed who the jailer was? Nah, sorry, you gotta go. A great role for a lot of fun. Sorry, just responded to a quick text. So great stuff there. Then we also got the Jinx, which is just the Jinx is just the ambusher from Town of Salem 1. It's kind of there. Had a Witch 1 game that shared no info. Was just like, oh, that's the worst. Not sharing info just sucks. And then we have the Ritualist, which is like the Doomsayer. They have 3 guesses. They guess at night. If they guess correctly, that person dies, but they have to guess correctly. If not, it's revealed to the entire town that so-and-so performed a blood ritual but was incorrect. Also S tier. I really enjoy playing it. It's a lot of fun. Moving into the Coven Deception. So these are the roles that kind of screw with everyone, can hide some information. So you got Medusa. Medusa can now actually visit. It's basically just the janitor, but can kill and can actually visit a bit more. Not too much of a difference with them. Don't love, don't hate. It's just kind of there. You got the Illusionist. The Illusionist and the Enchanter, I'm going to be honest with you all, I'm going to confuse so much. I still confuse them so much. But they're there. So we're going to skip to the Dreamweaver. Dreamweaver, you visit someone, you dreamweave them. And if a town person doesn't visit them the next night, then they go insane. Once they're insane, they can no longer, they will vote randomly. They will, basically they can't participate during the day as much. So you want to visit them. And because of that fact, if they can just easily say, hey, I'm dreamwoven, and town will visit them. How you can counteract that is with one of the Coven Utility roles, which we'll talk about in a bit. But the Illusionist visits Coven, and makes them not look suspicious to the spy. or to the psychic, but a spy can see that someone is visited by an illusionist, and it immediately outs that they're Coven. So they're C tier. They're C tier. We got the Enchanter. The Enchanter is basically the Forger from Town of Salem 1. You can enchant what people's role and wills look like. It's kind of there. Don't love it, don't hate it. Moving on to the Coven Utility. These are our last 5 roles. And a lot of fun. Enchanter is also a framer. Oh, also a framer. That's true. Yeah, you can also make people look suspicious in psychic wills or to sheriffs. We have the Potion Master. No difference. Their potions are the same from Town of Salem 1, but now they need the Necronomicon. They need to be the killing person, or else they cannot use their kill potion. But they can use their reveal and heal potion. There is no cooldown. They can just use them every single night. Once they use their reveal potion, the entire Coven knows about them. So they're A tier. They're a lot of fun. They're probably the bottom of A tier for me. They give a lot of info to your Coven that helps them. They work really well with a Ritualist. So they're great there. The Necromancer, same thing as the Retributionist, is dependent on what's in the graveyard to use. Don't love it, don't hate it. It can hang out there with the Retributionist. It can hang out there with the Retributionist. We got the Poisoner. Poisoner is the consort. It roadblocks people, but it can also poison people. So it's kind of a mix and match of those. I don't enjoy playing as it. It's kind of there. Oh, that's true. Necro can only use bodies once, whereas the Retributionist can use them multiple times. Yeah. We got the Voodoo Master. Voodoo Master is the Coven Utility we were talking about earlier that pairs well with a Dreamweaver. Voodoo Master is the blackmailer without all the fun of the blackmailer. You just choose someone and they can't speak the next day. And they can't vote someone up. They can inno or guilty, but they don't get to read whispers. So it's kind of there. It pairs well with other roles because you can stop people from speaking. But it's definitely one of my lesser favorite roles to play. And the final Coven role, we got the Wildling. The Wildling's pretty wild. They have 3 different ways to gain info. They can read whispers, for one. This is the only Coven role that can read whispers. They can, when they visit a target, they can see if anyone visits. So say they visit 12, they will see where 12 visits and who visits 12. So they can fake lookout, they can fake tracker, and they can also read whispers. It's a pretty powerful Coven role, so thus it'll be the bottom of S tier for me. Wildling sees a sheriff and whispers, is going to check a Coven, alert the vote. That's true. Wildling and Voodoo Master can work well because you can be like, hey, I saw this, silence them, live another day. Great stuff. But yeah, that is my tier list here. If you're watching this on YouTube, which you probably are, let me know. How do you think this tier lies up? Do you think there are any roles? Was I a bit too kind to some of these roles? Should some of these roles be down in the F tier? We only put really 2 roles in there. Or do you agree the opposite? Should Coroner be the top of S tier? Let me know in the comments down below over on YouTube. And also let me know what your S tier is. YouTube, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, come follow us over on Twitch where I stream Town of Salem pretty often. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one.